Mozambique, it's a country that was colonized by the Portuguese, and colonization took around 500 years.
Many men have died because of the struggle, and many people became widows. But again, soon after independence, that was in 1975, we had a civil war that also we lost many people during that war.
Civil War II lasted 16 years. In 16 years, it's a long period. So we can imagine many people was killed as well at that time. That's where we're starting to have widows. What happens when these women get married? They go to the marriage and they are trained, they are educated to respect the husband, to obey the husband, to do everything for the husband, to cook for the husband, to whatever for the husband and the family and the in-laws and so on. So she's never educated for herself, to do something for herself, to develop herself. No, she's there, she's only prepared to take care of others. And no one told her that you need to study so that you can really take better care of yourself or even of your children.
We inherited an education from our tradition.
Women are not given the value that they have. They are not looked at as because they are individuals with capacity to perform any role in the society. Women are associated with the reproductive role, not with the productive role.
A, B, B, C.
And the Portuguese people, they were not interested to get people to be literated, because otherwise they would open up their minds to see that there's injustice in the country. It's a drop in the ocean. We still have to do more. We still have to cover more people, and especially at the provincial levels, at the local levels, because at the main cities the situation, it seems to be controlled, but not at rural areas.
There is a kind of support that comes from the government. The Ministry of Women and Social Welfare, it has kind of social action initiatives to support the most vulnerable groups. But it's something that it's not enough for the level of poverty that people is facing. For these women who have been living with a husband without doing anything, when he dies, she just look around and say, I have never been anyone. What can I do today? And they'll start to think, I'm just nothing. I'm just waiting for for God to take me as well. I should die as well like him, because I would go to rest instead of seeing my children suffering of hunger and so on. And they don't believe they can do something. I think the problem starts from the family, from the socialization. As I was saying in the beginning, women are educated to be under men.
The widows in Mozambique, they rely on their husband, or the women in general, they rely on their husband because of illiteracy.
Socially and culturally, the figure of a male, it gives kind of power, kind of social status. So the vulnerability that widows are carrying, it's much more related to social status. Many men are working in the mines in South Africa. They have other relationships there, they have other families there, and in many cases they get HIV and AIDS, and they come back home when they are already really sick, and in most of the cases they die. But before they die, They force their wives to have unsafe sex, unprotected sex, even knowing that they are HIV positive. And in many cases, they say, I don't want to die alone. And then it happens, she becomes HIV positive as well.
The statistics says we have five women to one man. This is also lead us to polygamy systems. They also lead us to prostitutions. They also lead us to many social problems.
I heard a story of a young man who was a robber. His life it was robbing, but by a woman that he was having a relationship with him. He was a rich man because he could give him good life, good cars, but he was robbing from houses, from banks, from wherever. When he died, I heard that 12 women were there. And they were his wives. Everywhere, each one of them, they were like, he's my husband, he's my wife. So can you understand? From one man at once, we had 12 widows. Because today, everything also is becoming associated with money.
The new generation, they will also suffer. I think, as I said, our children are finishing schools. There is no jobs. There is no employment. Because development, this is what it means, to have people trained and qualified to generate jobs. Because if we still keep illiteracy, we are not going far with the development. They're not working because my country is not a rich country. As I said, it's a very poor country, and the index of unemployed people is very higher. Even the index of those illiterate people is very high. Like the illiteracy campaign, why are not developing much, or why are not successful? It's because the mother would say, I would prefer to take my children to school rather me to go to school because I'm old enough. But I have my young children who are not going to school. If you are willing to help me, please take my children to school.
At the level of decision making, women are not there. When decisions are made about their lives, they are not contributing, they are not involved. In the process of development, they are not involved, and so on. So this was making even women not being really achieved, not being attended by the, let's say, basic services and so on.
The problem is that many people, they don't know the laws. They don't know that they are protected. They still believe in tradition.
When we talk about their rights, they will understand about the right they have to education, knowledge, acquire knowledge. And from that, when they have knowledge, they will be able to claim their rights. Their rights will be related to health, to education for their children, to food, which is a basic, to shelter, to house, to live, to security. When you are poor, there will be other aspects that will make you die. It's not the poverty itself that is killing. It's that you'll get sick and you have no way of going to the hospital. You will not be able to buy the good medicines. You will not be able to see a good doctor who can test and see what the real disease that you have. A widow should think, how can I do to change this life? I think they need to change their belief, what they believe in. They need to fight against the system that is really putting them down and down and down. They need to believe on their capacity. But the system itself should provide any way of, drawing that future. And if we start to talk about a country where you have lots of women who are vulnerable, who are poor, you have lots of widows who cannot take care of their children, who cannot educate their children, what do you expect from 10 years' time, 20 years' time? What is going to happen to these women? What is going to happen to these children?
There is nothing else that somebody will do without education. Because let's say if you are educated, you can think on ways of surveillance. You can even have a small school in your house. You can teach people things that they don't know how to do, and you can gain some coins at least to buy bread. And if you are not illiterated, you can just think, you will think on selling your body to have money. You will be a street vendor to have money, and you become more vulnerable.
Development is a process, and people have to be part of this process. They have to be involved in what is going on so that they can build their capacity, so that they can make sure that what they are fighting for, they are really achieving slowly and slowly, because we have to put targets, small targets, but targets that will take us to this vision, to this dream of a better life for every one of us. Individuals are not changing. They are not committed. They don't have a will. They are not really convinced about many things that we are talking about.
The country, even the civil society organizations, they have to do all the efforts in terms of ending poverty.
One thing which I consider very interesting is that women, they are always very powerful. Even with all these problems, they will wake up and try to find a way of overcoming. If we could empower these widows, they could perform a very good role in changing the families, in educating their children.